Rangers have a few issues. Today, we're going to try to solve them while also still celebrating what makes the class different. And of course, some free stuff just for you at the end. Hi everyone, I'm Willowares, and today we're going to be talking about Rangers. That's right, the class of the second most attractive character in Lord of the Rings, Aragorn. So sit back and enjoy a classic Willowares crab. Enjoy a crab. So sit back and enjoy a classic Willowares class craft. Class craft! We're taking the classes to Isengard to avoid making a song for this bit. Yes, we are. And much like Aragorn, we're going to squint into middle distance and say something ominous like, "So what happened here?" The Ranger was a beautifully designed class in D&D 2014, evocative with features that effortlessly wove between gameplay and backstory in a way that no other class could compete with, that also hit as hard as a handful of yogurt lazily tossed against a mattress. Clerics, paladins, and warlocks carry innate storytelling power with their gods and patrons, but only the 2014 Ranger really made it matter where you grew up, who your friends were, where everybody knew your name, like Cheers. Somehow, the Ranger is like the show Cheers. Yeah, that works. You'll remember that. The problem was these features were mechanically weak or unusable in certain types of games, and believe it or not, it actually got worse. 2024 came along, looked at some of those delicious features struggling for their very lives, and, well, finished the job. And listen, this isn't going to be a video dissecting why Rangers don't work anymore. I think D&D Tube has done an amazing job dissecting that very, very dead horse. Instead, let's look forward. What can we do to fix this? Let's go through some Ranger subclasses and take a lesson from each one to save the Ranger and make them just as cool as they were always meant to be. Each subclass discussed will have a quote-unquote lesson that we will put together at the end to quote-unquote fix the Ranger with the new feature. So let's quote-unquote begin. Winter Walker. The class fantasy here takes a lot from the lands of Icewind Dale, but if you're unfamiliar with that, just envision a warrior hardened by the icy winds of the north, so much so that it seems the very magic of the cold has taken root in his bones. The level 3 feature of Winter Walker is probably one of my favorite swings Wizards has taken recently at making a cool Ranger subclass. You get a healthy 1d10 plus your Ranger's levels worth of hit points whenever you cast Hunter's Mark. Imagine a thin layer of magic ice covering you, just like every time you chew 5 gum. It also has some other tasty thematic elements, including extra cold damage, has some cold damage, including extra cold damage resistance, and a tasty chilly list of spells. Finally, Frozen Haunt allows you to take on a ghostly snowy form. It's one of the subclasses I'm actually the most excited about for Ranger recently, and if anyone here has tried it out, let me know what you thought of it. So what's the lesson here? If you're gonna make a class revolve around Hunter's Mark needs to impact the subclass as well. It can't just be a first level spell players have to carry across the whole game. It needs to inform our subclass abilities and hopefully play into our theme. In this case, basically Elsa from Frozen, with a Hoyt Alpha AX3 compound bow loaded with armor-piercing, heat-seeking arrows. But perhaps the frozen wastes are a bit too lonely for you. Well, take a look at the famous pet class of D&D, the Beastmaster. Beastmaster is a subclass that offers choice to the Ranger by allowing you to pick a primal companion, a creature that has different abilities based on the type, land, sky, or sea, that you pick. It's worth noting that while I was a bit harsh about the 2014 to 2024 changes, Beastmaster does not apply here as much in my opinion. In 2014, it required a whole action to command your pet, while in 2024, it only requires a bonus action, on top of getting the additional buff of a more elaborate command as a feature at level 7. Thematically, I think this is a really neat idea. I do see some players struggle with making a connection to their beast companion since the form can change, but if you think of it closer to the animals, say from Golden Compass, soul-bonded creatures that can change form but not personality, it's pretty easy to build a rich character from that base. And what's great about the Beastmaster is that it's sort of a last bastion for something that is very Ranger-like, and that's a connection to animals. Now, of course, not every Ranger needs to have a deep connection to animals or nature, but it's important to note what sets the Ranger apart as a class, not just subclasses. One of the big issues I feel from a zoomed out view on Rangers is that they don't have a unique area of class fantasy, and Beastmaster satisfies this. Beastmaster is also a great subclass, in my opinion, to try homebrew for the first time. Homebrewing a different type of spectral beast is very easy, and it doesn't require fiddling too much with mechanics. So try it. You might like it. You might like homebrewing. Put me out of a job, please. Beastmaster teaches us that a ranger should have connections with animals that go beyond the ability to just cast spells. A friendship with the natural world is a huge part of the fantasy and joy of the class. But here's a brief aside so you don't get mad at me. Like and subscribe to not get mad at me. Drake Warden, to me, teaches the same lesson that Beastmasters do, as it is the other ranger subclass that essentially gives you a pet. So we won't go over this one in too much detail, but I will say that personally, to me, the Drake Warden's flavor text is much stronger than the Beastmaster. Plus you get a breath weapon at level 11, which is just so cool. The drawback is, of course, you're roped into a lot of draconic flavoring, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. But reflavoring the Drake into a different magical being is a pretty simple thing to do. However, since we're going off what lessons we can snag to make our rangers stronger, I feel this is pretty similar to the lesson we're learning with Beastmaster, so I'll pass on doing a deep dive into this bad boy for now. But you're always there. You're always there in the corner, Drake Warden. No one's gonna forget about you. People really like dragons in this game. I think dragons are gonna catch on in a big way in D&D. Okay, back to business, sorry. And hey, we have a very special sponsor today. As you know, here at Willowares, we love stories, so I was thrilled when Rhonda Parrish reached out regarding her latest book, Silversong. Winner of the Can Reads Award for Best Fantasy Novel, Silversong is a story about Garen, who has one goal. He wants to become a powerful wizard and use that power to rescue himself, his mother, and his best friend from the dream-destroying poverty they are forced to exist in. Armed with only a harp, a stolen book about arcane theory, and a single-minded determination, Garen claws his way up from obscurity, becoming a household name. If you're looking for a fast-paced, emotionally driven fantasy story, Silversong is for you. And here's the cool part. If you're a member of her Corvid tier or higher on Patreon, you get to download the book as part of the membership. And, as always, something that I absolutely love, this book was 100% created from a human being. No AI involved. So check out Silversong on Rhonda's Patreon and enjoy an amazing story while supporting an author rather than some billionaire book retailer. For a limited time, use code 37935 for 50% off the first month of any membership tier at Rhonda's Patreon. As a fellow storyteller, I'm just so pleased to share this one with you all, and thank you to Rhonda. Okay, back to the range. Gloomstalker. This is a fan favorite subclass of Ranger, and rightfully so. Gloomstalkers have a really strong class fantasy. Weaving in with the Shadowfell, you're almost an assassin type Ranger, jumping out of the shadows and dealing damage to your prey. In 2014, they were really strong, as in justifying picking Ranger without Gloomstalker was pretty hard to do. But since Rangers can't have anything good, 2024, well, we got more yogurt again. We did. Oh no, Ma, someone dipped the Gloomstalker in Go-Gurt again. Now they do a bit less damage, however they still have that from the Shadows flavoring, particularly with their invisibility and darkness feature. So if you're going to do an Underdark campaign, and you want to be a Ranger, then this is probably the ideal class for you. I could be wrong, but I think you should choose this class. But what is cool about the Gloomstalker is that it goes back to what the Beastmaster has as well. The children long for a strong D&D class identity, and the Rangers, well, if you decided to trap me in a mason jar and only feed me Tic Tacs and water droplets until I finally gave up my big secret as to what I think the Ranger should be in D&D, it's essentially this. A Ranger is a park ranger that can cast a little bit of magic, like Smokey the Bear with an ability to teleport right behind you. That's actually very scary. I mean, a rugged combatant that is the embodiment of the pillar of exploration. Note, this is one of the major pillars of D&D, so much so that they gain mystical powers from being so connected to exploring and the world around them. And the Gloomstalker does this. They are so born in the shadows. They're so born in the shadows. I can't do a Bane voice. They are so born in the shadows, they are experts at navigating it. Becoming invisible in darkness to me is an ideal Ranger feature, not only because of its combat use, but it also is a fantastic exploration feature as well. So the lesson here is that the environment should be a part of the Ranger's suite of abilities too. In this case, darkness. Having a class that operates well most of the time and is terrifying in their chosen environment is an interesting approach to balance that leads to great narrative moments and rewards players for preparing encounters in their chosen place. is the Fey Wanderer. Much like how the Circle of Stars Druid or the Spell Thief are subclasses that still satisfy the class fantasy while giving a new twist, Fey Wanderer asks the bold question, what if the brooding ranger that sits in the corner of the room actually didn't want to? Picture the Fey Wanderer as an adventurer that perhaps knows the line between the Fey realm and the real one a bit too well, skipping between them while all the while charming the socks off of anybody within earshot. The Fey Wanderer is all about charm, features like the ability to throw back a charm or a frighten in the face of your enemies, finally culminating in that very Fey ability of becoming a Misty Step machine. And I love this subclass. In fact, Fey Wanderer is actually doing pretty well, all balanced things considered. It didn't get as much of a kneecap like the Gloomstalker did in the 2024 update, and I think it has a lot of good utility. But the lesson here is that the Fey Wanderer is another great example of how to make combat features also fit in well with another pillar of D&D, this time the social interaction. However, let's not do that for our final ranger. While I love the Fey Wanderer, I want to create something that will help the ranger with the OG ranger pillar, and that is exploration. At least to me, in my opinion. That's my tic-tac-jar opinion. Hunter. Now, if you've watched any Willoware's class-based videos, you know I'll always talk about how important it is to know which subclass is our bread and butter subclass. You'd think it would be the Beastmaster, since it's the 2024 subclass that allows you to have the pet. Well, guess what? You have egg on your face now, silly. You silly Billy, because that's not what I think. I personally think Hunter is the bread and butter subclass of the Ranger, but wipe that egg off your face for a moment, because even though that's the case, it doesn't mean that Hunter is better than Beastmaster, I'd argue. Beastmaster and Drake Warden are much more exciting as a thematic idea for Ranger. They are mechanically stronger as well, and I'd go a step further to say the internet actually agrees with me. This is, as you know, an extremely risky thing to do. Like and subscribe to watch the internet hunt me down for sport and turn me into a snow globe for my boldness of assuming its favor. Hunters are a great starter subclass, but I take it a step further to say that perhaps it isn't as rewarding as other starter subclasses. Because Rangers are arguably in a weak spot already, Hunter is at its best feeling like Ranger Extended Edition Director's Cut, and at worst, feels like a step back, particularly since some of its features are defensive rather than offensive, while the other subclass options lean much more into utility and damage. Regardless, Hunter is a great intro into branching options for any subclass, so if you've picked this class and are sweating listening to this video, never fear. Options like Colossus Slayer make things fun, and it's a fantastic way to get a handle on the class overall. And the lesson here is that choice is great for a ranger to build their story into their abilities, representing how you are adaptable and play into your history. Is yours a tale of someone battling giants? Go Colossus Slayer. Is it one of stealing bread to survive in the face of dozens of city guards? Go with Escape the Horde. We've hopped over a few of these subclasses to see what we can learn, so let's take our Boy Scout badges and blend them together to see what we can cook up. A ranger, among their path of adventures, changes in many ways, be it living long enough amongst the whispering trees or developing a strong enough bond with their animal companion. There are many paths a ranger can follow to find their true calling. Sometimes, if they are dedicated enough, the strange, undefinable magic that allows them to cast in the first place responds in kind. The magic already inherent in their spirit begins to bolster their very bones and heart, causing some rangers to hear better, others to traverse the landscape with ease. It is always centered around what is dearest to the ranger, which lands they know like the back of their hand, for example. And because of this, the phenomenon is called the verdant heart. Some even say the ranger's heart shifts and changes into something else entirely, a thrumming mass of energy, the natural world whispering through every heartbeat. To make something for the 2024 Ranger, we want a little bit of specialty, an Environment Matters flavor, some Hunter Mark Matters flavor, and a little bit of razzle-dazzle into it, in such a way that it doesn't actually interfere with any animal companions. So, I present to you a custom Willowware super special idea, a Verdant Heart. It's like Warlock packs, but for Rangers. When you reach 5th level, you get a Verdant Heart of your choice, and like a Warlock pact, it's based on your backstory. And I think it would be pretty easy to homebrew your own Verdant Hearts from here, for other terrains like coasts and mountains, or for other core ranger features. The world is your oyster. But most importantly, I wanted to showcase the level 10 Verdant Heart feature. While in your favorite terrain, Hunter's Mark no longer requires concentration for you. Yippee, everybody applaud. It's level 10, so it might be too late, but oh boy, would still be fun. That's right, not crazy enough to be a feature on its own, but hopefully strong enough to be rewarding. And hey, we did it! I've got some free Verdant Hearts just for you, and on top of that, I've also got a super special Verdant Heart of the Companion, just for my patrons. And if you like this video, I've also got a few more about classes and such that also have free things, so go check them out. Until next time, goodbye! Bye! And you're probably wondering, Willow, you did mention that Aragorn is the second most attractive character in Lord of the Rings. Who is the first? Well, I actually lied. Aragorn is indeed the 10th most attractive character in Lord of the Rings. Let me list off the others just so you have it for your notes. Get ready to write it down. Number 9, we have Ringwraith number 1. And in a surprising upset, we have Ringwraith number 2. Next place, rest in peace, died in a bowl of yogurt. Next, we have Ringwraith number 3, neck and neck with Ringwraith number 4.